Welcome to the HasMedia podcast. My name is Owner Has. This is the #1 marketing podcast in the world. Marketing media. This is my brother,
Okan Haas.
And we got a special guest today. Her name is Nicole Cruz.
Hey.
She is disrupting the MCA space. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Always a good time.
All right, cool.
All right.
So what have you been working on lately? What's going on?
What have I not been working on? Always working. Just trying to unlock new levels, trying to learn, trying to burn some money, trying to lose, trying to win, all that good stuff.
So I know we've been on a podcast before, but it wasn't this official. Just tell the viewers listening, because this is going to be an official episode on our channel. Tell the viewers a little bit about what you do and what the MCA space is, and just kind of touch up on it.
Okay, so basically pretty simple. What we do is we provide working capital to small businesses. We're a broker, right? We're the people that take in applications, bank statements, we get approvals from lenders, and then we help the client secure the best offer. So that's what we do. Been doing that since 2018. So I've been in the space for a while. And what was the last question?
What did I say?
So you said a little bit about what you do.
And just like the MCA space.
Yeah, MCA. So very competitive space, every year growing and growing. I remember when I started in 2018, everybody was saying it was saturated. Mm-hmm. And every year, every time you go to the conferences, brand new people, brand new faces, bigger and bigger, more competitive, more technology. Like, it's just awesome to see. Yeah. And I love that every single year they're saying it's gonna get regulated, it's gonna slow down, it's gonna stop, and it's only getting bigger. Mm-hmm. So it's so fucking exciting. It's a great time to be.
How long has the MCA industry been around? Do you know?
I want to say 2009. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's been around for a while. But like I said, it's just growing so fast. Yeah. Right? So many people. There's no barrier to entry right now, so anyone can do it. The smart people survive. I'll say that.
2009. I mean, that's pretty kind of like
after the crisis.
Infant industry still. You know.
Oh yeah, brand new.
Like a lot of the industries have started 100 years ago, whatever. But tell us a little bit about what you see in the MCA space and what you do differently to kind of shine amongst the rest. How does Redline kind of, what's the niche, and what do you guys do differently?
I love that. So I think the space gets so big because people branch off of each other. So you work at a shop, you like what you see, you have some success, you branch off. So that's what I see. And a lot of people that, hey, I worked at, let's say, Synergy or all these other boutique shops back in the days, they learn a little bit and then they grow and then they scale. And it just kind of branches off like that, right? So what I like about Redline, the way we strategize is, I've worked for a lender before, so I know what underwriters are looking for to price deals. I've worked at a broker shop, so I know what lenders like in brokers, and I take both of those things and I combine them into one. So I know what lenders like to see, I know what brokers are supposed to look like, and we just try to be the best version of both.
Gotcha.
And if we can deliver the best service to the client by being unique in that way, then we stand out by a mile. Right.
So for a merchant or a customer that's coming into your business, what is an underwriter looking for? What is a lender looking for them to be successful in acquiring the capital that they need for their business?
I always tell clients, right, you're only as good as who you're submitting to, right? Because I'll give you an example. Let's say I own a pizzeria, right? And you're Redline and you're Blue Line, two different broker shops. Okay. Redline could have the best partners. So if I apply simultaneously to you both, I can get 10,000 for 12 months. But if I submit to you, I can get 10,000 for 4 months at a 149, super expensive, just because you don't have the same resources as Redline. So your deal is only as good as where you're submitting, because you want to make sure that the company you're sending your files to has the best lenders, just everything is premium, right? You have the best opportunity.
Does that have to do with lead source?
I mean, to have really good partners, you have to be reputable. You have to have time in business. You have to look at your key performance indicators. You have to be well aware of what's going on, and you have to try to do it efficiently, professionally. No funny business, right? That's how you keep the good lenders.
How do you, in your mind, what is necessary to become a professional MCA industry, a professional MCA company?
I mean, I could even start with, how do you even scale? You have to invest in technology, and you have to have integrity and do things the right way. It's so easy not to. I mean, you see all the time, I don't know if you guys are up with the news in the space, but guys are getting FBI, coming into their offices, taking them to jail because they're carroting merchants, lying to merchants, take this.
What's carroting?
It's take this for 30 days and I'll give you a line of credit just to get that quick commission and fucking bounce, right?
It's like manipulation.
Yeah, and it's for them, it's like a strategy to just get paid and then fucking bounce.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't scale that, right?
Yeah,
and you fuck someone
It's a
over.
waste of time.
I mean, for short-minded people, like it could work for them, but you
Right.
can't scale that.
Yeah.
So that's how you don't succeed, right?
Yeah.
That's not a business mind.
It's just not, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, because there's no barrier to entry, there's so many characters that could be in the space, and that gets a bad name for us.
Right.
But if you do things the right way, you
Yeah.
invest in technology, you scale the sales team, you teach them.
You start understanding the actual industry,
Yeah.
The
core of it.
inner works of how the industry works.
100%.
It's kind of like if you boil it down, like that concept with like media as well.
Yeah.
Like media is like before, like 5-10 years ago, you couldn't even get on to like, if you want to get on TV, or if you want to get on the radio and you want to get your message out there, et cetera, like you had to know somebody,
Yep.
et cetera. Like the barrier entry was a little bit harder.
Yep.
Now the barrier entry is everybody can do it.
Yeah, you're on radio.
Yeah, anyone could do it. So it's like, that's good that everybody could do it, but it's super competitive
Super.
now.
Yep.
It just builds on that competition.
Yeah.
But I also think it starts with the shop owner
100%.
themselves. And the industry is known to be like this shady, scammy industry that nobody wants to deal with. But you have big players in this market. I mean, like one of the companies that you always mention is On Deck, right?
Oh,
They're
man,
a
yeah.
massive company. But then you see companies like Toast or QuickBooks or whatever type of merchant
Shopify.
services. Yeah, Shopify
So many.
offering merchants cash advance in like a strategic way where, hey, we're your business partner type of deal, but it's the same exact thing. They're just repositioning themselves as
Doing the
this
same
brand,
thing.
right? But I think a lot of times, like what you deal with and what you do really good at is teach your sales reps that it's not about the quick commission. Because
Yeah.
a lot of sales reps coming into this industry, a lot of MCA owners that have been in this industry for a long time, they kind of bait those guys or girls into their shops of, oh, you're going to make a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
right? Whereas you're like, hey, we're here to help the client.
Yep.
Because I've heard you sometimes like talk about how, if it doesn't make sense for the merchant, like I'm not going to fund them.
Yep. I have a
Right?
great example. I had a client apply. He has a massive online store,
Yeah.
super legit, like beautiful business.
Right.
Guy was doing like $4 million a year, a month, 500,000 plus, right? Crushing it. And he had an offer from Wayflyer, which was like a lender that specializes just in that space. So they were offering him 100 grand, 7%, 9 months, right? And he respects me because I'm giving him so much value about how the process works, what to expect, how the costs are, all this good stuff. So I come back to him with an offer and I said, look, I can't beat that offer. If you're going to look at just the price, I can't beat them. I can't get down there. One, you have a relationship with them. Two, their price is like no one's beating them, right? I have higher than that. I think I priced him at like maybe I got him low to like a 1.3. So it was like in the teens. I'm like, I could give you the teens, I could give you weekly payments, and I can give you a year. So my value to you is longer term, weekly option, and hopefully you like me enough that you want to do business with me. That's all I got. But if you're going to look at just the numbers, I can't beat their rate. But that's how transparent I am when I sell, right?
That's how you gotta be.
Yeah, and the client is like, thank you so much. Monday, call me, please,
Well,
right? So we're like,
What?
he's either going to take it because he hopefully got enough value and values the time that I'm giving him longer term, or he's just going to say, hey, you can't beat it. Thank you,
Right.
though.
But,
Right?
but when you position yourself like that, like you're not just a number.
Yeah.
You're a personality. You're a person.
Of course.
You're an actual personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So-
also when you get the resources to offer him something really good,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He comes back to you. That's a book of business that you're building,
Yeah.
right? Because you're guiding your client to be successful. Because
100%.
you don't want, like, a lot of times I feel like in this industry, like I see people making the commission checks, and if that business goes under, one, you're creating a bad reputation with the funders that you're working with, right? Because now they're dealing with the freaking collections. And then two, their livelihood is going to shit, right? And these people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want a customer that comes into the door that, maybe they do get, qualify for 30K, but you're like, hey, I think you can last with 15K and then
Yeah.
build it up and then come back to me and then we'll get you another 45 and build a relationship over time.
Does that come with like really understanding the merchants industry?
100%.
Like, do you have to like does it take time to like build that skill? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Like, I know how this industry works. Okay, this is how, you know what I mean? It's like that you kind of build that over time. It's like, all right, next, you know, industry B. Okay, I got to kind of build that knowledge.
100%. I when I do trainings with my closers, what we train about is obviously role playing, right? We go back and forth with scenarios. The first thing I say is, I'm in this industry. And I had a smaller training with just the closers, and I was like, guys, I'm going to give you guys industries, and I want you guys to tell me the pain points of that industry, right? I'm a construction guy. What am I going to say? Receivables, waiting on 30, 60, 90 payouts, right? Gotta front the materials up front, gotta do payroll. Like, it's always the same things. So if you know your customer, as soon as he comes in the door and you almost like read his mind, you're like, hey, I know. Let me guess. 30, 60, they're taking forever. Yeah. And then you guys just relate on that. So industry does matter a lot, and you have to know your customer. Right. So if you can pick that up and have a good relationship off the bat and just sound knowledgeable, you stand out from like every Joe Schmo kid that just hit the phone trying to close a
So how do you make them, like the merchant, it makes sense in their mind, essentially?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What
are you saying?
How do you make the merchant make it like it makes sense in their mind?
I simplify it as much as possible. Like, I try to really make it super simple. You have a problem, right? What's the problem? I need to get a machinery. I got to get a forklift, 30K. Gotcha. How's your score? It's not the best. Okay. You're not going to get a bank product. Simple, right? You're not going to get an APR. You're not going to get monthly payments. You're not going to get a 3-year term. It's not going to be what you think. I know that you don't know how this works because they're ignorant, right? Ignorant means I don't know what I'm walking into, but I have a problem, right? And I want to get it solved. So I simplify it. Look, it's not what you're thinking. This is the only product that's going to get your hands on the forklift. So let's take the product. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. You keep the forklift, pay it off on time, and you move on. Like, it's not beautiful, but it's going to get the job done. And it's the only way you're going to get the money, right? So I just simplify that intro. They're on the same page with me. They're like, fuck, let's do it. You know, fuck, I got to solve the problem.
Right.
Now, that's me on the phone. Guy hangs up. I get backdoored. The lender sell the shit out of my data. The next Joe Schmo calls, and he's trying to close him an MCA. Trying to take this cash advance. Like, following up all crazy. Who you think he's going to take the deal from?
Definitely you.
Right? So that's the type of training that we do.
Gotcha.
And it's like, be professional, be transparent, and be straight up.
That's a skill,
super straight up.
That's an actual skill.
Yeah.
You're building a brand.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, because we help some cash advance companies with just like building CRMs and getting into, you know, building their systems, and a lot of them they get, you know, they only have one channel of marketing, and then they're doing exactly what you said, right? So how do you differentiate yourself? You start to market yourself professionally. You start to do advertising, which you're getting into. You start to create SEO, which you just got into, and it's like over time, you know, you become a household brand.
Yep.
And I think where the disconnect happens in this industry is that a lot of these business owners, they're used to the quick hit and the quick commission, so they're not willing to wait 10 years to rank on SEO. No. They're not willing to rank 10 years.
The way that people look at it, because there's no barrier to entry, and this is just me just assuming, but since there's no barrier to entry, it's their mind goes directly to, I just want to fund the deal.
100%.
Right? Like, it's like,
I want to get a watch.
Skip all the business part, and it's just, I just want to fund the deal. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I'm a closer.
I'm a closer. I can close. That's it. And it's like, that is literally just one tiny aspect of the monster you're trying to build. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I always say success leaves clues. When you look at the big companies crushing it, right? And you just search them up.
Like, what are they doing?
Oh, man, they're all in on this fucking long-term strategy. They're all in on the SEO. They're all in on the paid search. Right. They're doing it. Right. So it just tells you it works, right? But no one wants to wait. Everybody just wants the quick hit, right? They rather call the fucking packs, and they rather do this, and they rather do that. It's all great, but it's a lot of hustle. And that's why I started changing my strategy, because it's like, and again, it's all ignorance, right? You start the business, you don't know what you're doing, you're calling a few leads, you start making some money. Now you're like, okay, what am I going to do with the money that I'm making, right? I got to monetize. I got to put it to work. So now you start, like, hopefully, right, the more you learn, the savvier you get, you start paying attention to, like, okay, what are these guys doing, right? Because that's the level I want to get to. And then just kind of, like, start going in that direction. But if you just hustle, no CRM, no fucking strategy.
You'll burn yourself out.
I mean,
right?
you'll make it, right? Like, there's guys crushing it, but it's so much fucking hard hustle, like, all the time.
It's like at that point, just go work at a shop.
Yeah, like, for that, and just save the headache. You know what I mean? But it's just
so interesting though, because there's like so many different. It's all it is like, I guess not all it is, but a big part of what it is making sure that you're, I guess, like tackling the leads that are coming in, right?
Oh yeah, speed to lead is.
So, but there's so many different avenues to be able to make sure that you're hitting those leads up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is not just one way to do it. One way to do it is yes, calling.
Yeah.
But there's this way, there's that way, there's there's this other marketing strategy that you could apply. There's et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean?
I was looking through my CRM Friday, right? And I have so much automation. When the lead comes in, that lead is getting attacked, right? I want the customer experience to be as smooth as possible, but we have a lot of follow-up in place so that way we know if we have a pulse, right? Mm-hmm. So I saw this lead in my CRM marked as close lost, wrong number or bad number, mm-hmm. right? Guy gets my email for my application, fills it out, and completes everything, full pack. Application, bank statements, everything is in. And I go to the rep and I'm like, why'd you close that lead out? He was like, the guy didn't pick up, the number doesn't work. I'm like, did you try emailing? Right? Yeah. There's a whole pack you could have submitted, funded, all that, but you didn't think outside the box. Gotcha. So leads have to get hit up every way, right? You call, you text, you email. If you can figure out another fucking way to do it. But get creative with your approach, because just because the number doesn't work doesn't mean it's not a good lead. Right? Guys sent everything in and I was like, really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a really good, what's it called? A resource that we're going to put the link in our description of prospecting. Yeah. I think this girl, Nicole Cruz, like put something together.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, we'll put that. Yeah, we'll put that at the end if they, if they understand a little bit how to prospect.
Yeah. But there's so many ways you can hit the lead. Hit the lead every.
You got it into it with the video too. It's pretty
it's fire.
Pretty in depth.
If you don't know,
it made me understand like a little bit.
Well,
definitely a lot more how it works.
Like if you don't know how to prospect, I mean, that's definitely a video to watch.
Yeah, leaving so much money on the table. If you don't prospect the right way, you're leaving too much money on the table. Look at that. That would have been a dead lead.
So a rep comes in and you go to train them. How do you walk them through the prospecting? Like, what do you require from the prospecting like checklist for them?
Yeah. So I try to put as much as I can on automation, because I want to assume that humans are great, but they're not perfect. So I do everything on my part to auto text, auto email. Like my reps, chilling. They got it good, because lead comes in, they're texting in their behalf, they're emailing in their behalf, and they're getting an automated application coming in. So their job is to pick up the phone and call it within the first 5 minutes. Like that lead has to get dialed ASAP, right? And depending on how savvy you are, that's how you're going to get the docs in. Because you can chill, let the automation do its thing, and hopefully the guy sends everything, or you could do your part and just follow up and call aggressively. Strategically email them also, follow up. Like there's things you can do to accelerate the process. But you have to hit every angle.
So are there two sides of the coin? Because I feel like what owner you're talking about a lot more is like, once the prospect is through the pipeline, essentially, then there's a way of like, all right, if they're in there, that they're qualified or they're interested or whatever, then there's like systems along to like, there's a whole entire business strategy that you have to build out. But like before that too, and I don't know if we could talk about this, or I don't know what is sensitive to talk about or not either. We can cut this part out too. Or
No.
So like the leads that you're going to chase after, essentially. Like that's a whole entire part of the game as well, no?
Yes, but that's good to clarify that. The way our leads are all opt-in leads. So our leads are like literally raising their hand.
Gotcha.
Very different from other shops.
That's a real business.
Yeah. It's expensive, right? But you have to figure out how to make the machine work that way. So like we were talking about ROAS in the beginning before we started recording, but if you have, let's say 300% or 600%, right? Then
600% what?
ROAS, right?
ROAS.
Return on ad spend, and you figure out the logistics of your business, you could spend a lot of money on marketing because it makes sense, right? The other way that most shops do it is they buy these lists for cheap, right? And if they're funding it, great, you can make a lot of money, but it's a different approach. You have to hunt them down.
Isn't it expensive too, though, to clean that list?
It is. There's so many hidden costs in just buying the list.
It's like, it's so hidden.
The biggest hidden cost is how much time do your reps have to spend calling these leads to figure out who's going to raise their hand. That's the biggest expense.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
It sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it. The time is...
Is it scalable?
I see shops crushing it. to be honest. They do it the old school way. They pick up the phone, they buy these lists, they buy these backdoors, they fucking crush. So I don't want to say that it's not successful. I just have a different way of doing it. And I like my strategy, and I think my strategy, the way I've put it together, is scalable.
Right. And what would you say, like, if you want to go into that strategy a little bit, like, what do you need to put into place to build that up?
The first thing is systems, like we mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to have a strong CRM that can capture that information, like that can sustain and feed back to the data, like texting it in, auto texting, emailing, God, maybe calling, and there we have with AI. Who gives a fuck? But like you have to have that system in place to then
capture that.
Exactly.
And then so that's mainly towards the web. You're like, you're searching on the web on who's interested, who's raising their hand, who needs a cash advance, essentially. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how like that, the challenges with that and growing that and scaling that aspect of it?
What do you mean? Like if you're doing, let's say, like Google?
Yeah, Google or Meta or or any other avenue to get people to opt in and raise their hand that they're interested.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways to. Just the cleanest way to say is blast. Right? Like there's like text blast, there's email blast, there's, so many ways to blast. So that's one way to do it on the cold side. You can do it with paid traffic, like you're saying with Meta, with Google. The key there is test as much as possible and understand that you're not going to crush it in the beginning. Like you have to have appetite for that shit and you have to be ready to lose some money.
Gotcha.
And if you have a budget you can allocate towards losing, while you're losing, just pay a lot of attention. Like narrow focus on where am I losing and where am I winning.
You have to be super pristine.
Yeah.
Right? And I think a lot of that too, like not just in the MCA, but any other, business where you're trying to find leads online and you're getting a big opt-in, you do have the risk of your domain or your IP getting flagged.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So how's that? Like, how do you guys deal with that?
You should never email blast or anything with like your main domain because it's gonna get fucked, right? You have to use like other variations to get it to deliver and not risk your main IP. You should never use your main domain.
Gotcha.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I did that in the beginning, and then I'm sending lender deals, and they're like, "I never got your submission." And I'm like, fuck, I'm all in the spam folder trying to get approvals.
Exactly.
And that's your website. That's so many things that carry with that domain. So don't ever use your main domain for anything.
Is there a whole like strategy behind that?
Look, if you're going to use, let's say with Salesforce, right? Sometimes we do like an email campaign, we'll do like a small SMS campaign, but it's all our data, right? So we do it in a scale where the open rates are like 30%, 40%, 50% sometimes, right? Because it's all our stuff, right? They submit the application, the bank statements. Hey, you had an approval, you didn't take it. What do you want to do? So that delivery, it looks really good, and that doesn't affect our reputation. But if you're going the cold strategy, you can use your main domain because you're expecting open rates to be what, like 2%, 5%.
Exactly.
So it's just too much risk for your.
And I wonder if people do like multiple, I guess subdomains.
Oh, I
like,
have hundreds.
Hundreds where it's just kind of feeding back.
Yeah, I have hundreds. You just depending on how hard you want to scale, just have multiple, and like I said, you just have to like be ready to lose some money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have appetite for it, and they just can't do it. Like I was talking to Yas about this, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want to put it on here, but any shop, like there was a kid that we were talking about also that he was like, oh, we're funding $1 million a month, right?" And I was like, "How much do you spend in marketing?" And he's like, "A lot, like 5,000." I'm like, "Bro, you're not funding it. There's no way you're funding it. There's no way because you're telling me that you're spending 5,000 a month, but you're making close to 100 grand. It's impossible."
What the hell's that ROAS?
Right? Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's either you've been at that spot for a long time, you have a large book of business, and you've been kind of like just cruising there and stuck, or you know what I mean? So I told him, I'm like, you're not gonna get to 2 spending 5, right? No shot. So if you're at
that's a 20x.
Yeah, if you're at 1 mil at 5K spend, for you to get a 2 mil, you gotta crank this shit up, bro. Like you gotta spend money. And
I'll invest into his business instead of crypto.
What? Like, what the fuck? Fuck Redline. I'm going where you're at, right? But it's like you got it. So that's the thing with shops. Like you have to be ready to spend money because that's the only way the machine works. You got to spend and make.
Yeah, you got to spend money. To
make
money
I'm super. I have a big appetite for losing, paying attention kind of vibes.
What do you think? Like some of the advantages that what are some key advantages that you see in the market that you're like, I'll destroy these people. You know what I mean?
I love destroying. I think the biggest thing is just paying attention. You got to pay attention. You have to know your customer. When I jump on calls with people, like marketing calls or strategized calls, they're like, what are you hoping that we can do? I'm like, listen, it's very easy for you. I just need you to pay attention to everything because I know my customers in and out. I give you the pain points. I can give you this. Where are they sitting? Where they're sleeping? I know everything. So I can give you all the tools. Just you know how to click the machine, bro. Like just pay attention to it. That's it, right? But for shops, like why do I want to crush and kill? It's because I pay attention, and I pay attention to all the customers. I pay attention. I listen to my calls, what their pain points are, what they're saying, like all these things. That way we can best help.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
How do you? Sorry,
Go ahead.
How do you train? Like, what's your system training your guys, your reps? Is there a certain strategy? Like, is there a certain like? Do you have like any like core belief that like, all right, they need to understand these concepts in order to
100%, yeah. I think that because I'm a business owner, I have that a little bit of advantage.
Yeah.
And when I train my reps, I try to give that to them as much as possible, right? Because at the end of the day, they are business owners also, and they have their own entity in my business, right? And they're arbitraging my platform to make money. That's really what they're doing, right? They come in every day, they have their own station, they're on 1099, and it's up to them to use all the tools I give them to make as much as possible. So they're also business owners, right? And I tell them, when you guys are talking to these people, especially if they're making a lot of money, you don't think a business owner making over $1 million has a good idea of how to run a business. They do. So you're not talking to a retard that's gonna take an MCA, and he's not gonna be like, okay, fine, I'll sign with my eyes closed, right? So you have to give him that mutual respect, and so that's the mindset that I try to do with training, right?
Smart.
It's so easy to beat brokers because most brokers want to make commission,
right?
So if you can detach from the money that you're gonna make, regardless if you get good, you're gonna make the money.
Yeah.
But just detach from that and then figure out how you can help the customer.
We've always believed in that. If you don't look at the money will come.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you just hone in on your craft, make yourself better and better every single day. I mean, that's kind of how we built our business, right?
Yeah.
It's honestly, I just don't understand how people don't understand that.
It's I think it's hard too, like, because it started clicking with me more and more every year. It's like, don't pay attention to the end result, because then you're gonna want it right now and then.
Yeah.
Just look at what the successful people are doing, and then try and mimic that, and then just try to get better at doing that, and only focus on that.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the end result.
Yeah. And I'll say this, right? To be fair, when you're working out of desperation, when you don't have a lot of money, it's hard because you have to make money. And when a sales rep has to make money, their pitch is different, their tone is different, they're desperate, right? And you can smell that hard on the phone. And that's the thing. When you get to a level where you're not like looking for your next meal and you have money in the bank, then your pitch is different, right? Like when I pitch deals, the merchants, I'm not like, you need to take the money right now because I need to close this deal. Like it's very like, yo.
You think
you know what I mean?
But you think there's some people out there, like a rare breed of people that when they're on that position, they turn into an animal? Yeah,
guys. And sometimes I see it too, like on the floor. Sometimes like when I hear people pitching, it's like, yo, you sound like you need that deal to close so bad, bro. And the merchant knows the way you're following up, like, calm down, bro, calm down. The pitch is too fast. I got an offer. It's $10,000. You start rambling, and I'm like, bro, and I'm teasing, yo, slow down, bro. The guy can't understand the delivery. Like, he's not understanding, right? You're going way too fucking fast. Slow down. And just by you slowing down, that's the difference between 0 and 3,000 in commission.
True. Yeah.
Slow the fuck down. It's costing you money to go that fast. Slow the fuck down.
It's like, if you think about, like, if you're fishing, right? Like the bigger fish, sometimes it takes like 4 hours to reel in a big fish.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So it's like, you got to slow down.
Just calm down. It's still a business.
It's gonna come.
Exactly. Just calm down.
But it's hard to sit in that.
Yeah, no, of course. But
it's hard to sit in that pressure.
I'll tell them they're lucky because I'm there, bro. Like, I'd be like, yo, I'll be trying to hook him up, right? Like, I'd be trying to help him. I hear the pitch. They have me on teams like super live. It's not always gonna be like that as we grow, right? I'm not gonna be as accessible, right? That's the goal, to get super big and have them be really good.
But we're gonna build a training program though.
Yeah, training program. But for now, since we're a boutique, I'm there. So when they're pitching super fast, I'm like, calm down, slow down. You're going too fast. Yeah, like you're way too excited. Or not even excited. Excited's great. But maybe you're just like way too like desperate pitch.
And you're leading by example. So I think like when you expand, it's gonna be a trickle effect, right? Like those guys are gonna teach the new guys, and it's just gonna keep going. And it's how you set your foundation. Like you're leading by example.
100%.
Right. And but one other thing I was gonna say too is one of the guys that we work with, Vince. I think we talked about this before, but he always there's like this EOS program that we're actually doing with Kyle, and Vince is an EOS guy too. But he always says that in this business diagram, you have a visionary integrator, and then there's like a bunch of other seats on the bottom that's like finance, marketing, sales, whatever. But he always says like,
and everybody owns a seat.
Everybody owns a seat, but you should always own the marketing seat as the business owner.
Do you believe that?
Hell yeah.
So like, what
I've
what
tried
got
to set
you
and forget
into that?
so many times. That shit doesn't work.
Yeah, like,
set and forget, and it doesn't work.
Because when you own the marketing seat, it puts you in the position of power to be able to look at, like, because you know your customers better than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know your team better than anybody else, and you know how to kind of put your company together better than anybody else. And like that's why we always tell, when we work with like new clients or new companies, we're the marketing leg. We're gonna help you push out all the plans, but you need to have an understanding of it, or
100%.
else it'll not ever go anywhere.
Yep.
Right? So I guess my question is just like, what got you into marketing, and like how'd you start, and like what was the excitement out of it?
Yeah, like when did it click? You're like, ooh,
Yeah.
I'm in this.
I needed marketing the first day I turned on my computer. I was like, all right, I'm doing this thing, my apartment. I'm like, I need leads. I'm like, wait, who am I selling? I have this great sales skill, but I'm like, fuck, who's buying this then? Right? So here's how it happened for me, right? I was very dependent on industry people, right? Industry guys, industry leads, industry this, industry that. All great and dandy, but it's very hard, to scale. You can't scale on the leg of one of these MCA fucking lead people, right? Two, the quality of the customer wasn't the best, right? And then you never have control of how to scale it, how to tweak your campaigns, how to do this, how to do that. So for me, what I started doing is I started with them, right? Because I need leads. I need the fastest way to get a customer. And then I also started dabbling on the side. Every dollar I made, I was reinvesting it into figuring out how I can market by myself. Super expensive, but the quality, once you hit the bank, right? Like with the industry people, $20 per lead, right? When I was doing my own, anywhere from $80 to $150 per lead.
Wow.
Cost per lead.
Damn.
But what's the difference in the quality?
They're opting
Industry
in for you.
people, industry people, 10, 15K funded, right? This one, 150K, 10 points, making 15,000 to the house. So is it worth it? Fuck yeah,
Hell yeah,
right?
it is, yeah.
So that when I
Bigger initial cost, but worth it, yeah.
but what happens is people that don't know the game, they're like, yo, what the fuck? Why would I spend this much if I could just get it from here? Yeah, but how many deals are you funding? How much effort are you putting in to get the outcome, right?
You know what's crazy about that? Like, just ideology is the answer is there, the path is there, but a lot of people have these like, I guess these barriers, and money a lot of times is that barrier. It's like, it's scary, right? It's like, I don't know what's behind paying this much amount of money, even though that's the right answer. You don't know, like you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like,
not even me. I don't know. I got good at like not hogging, because when you first start, everything's so important. Everything is so small. Everything is like so like scarce, right? When you take out the money factor, you're not in it to like, I just want to keep all the money and make all this money, and you just see it as a game. That's why I love Harmozy, because he calls this podcast the game.
Right.
And I kind of like took that and I was like, okay, this is a video game. Like I'm playing a game, and I need to figure out how to get good at the game, and I can't do that unless I test. So with marketing, that's what I started doing, and I do that every single day. Like every day, what's on my mind is marketing and leads, marketing leads, marketing.
We need to do more of that. Yeah, like looking at it like a game.
It is a game, and that's when I started seeing it like that. Obviously, I'm paying attention to how much money I'm dropping. Right, I'm not going crazy, but I know how much I have that I could play with, and my mind is, you're a savage, you're gonna lose, but you're gonna learn. So when you learn, then you tweak it and you make it back. That's fine, and I can live with that.
Right, but you're investing too, like the learning part. Like you're investing
100%.
into understanding that this is the wrong answer.
I wish they teach this in schools.
Oh, yeah, never. But it's cool because it's like, I only got this good by burning money.
Yeah.
And then now people probably see me and like, oh, how do you know all that shit?
I don't look at
hundreds
it.
of thousands of
You don't know
dollars
what I've
lost.
been through.
Yeah.
I don't look at it at like burning though.
Yeah,
I look at
yeah.
it as like you're just
paying your dues.
Getting good.
You're
getting
just
good.
you're going towards a certain direction, and you're like, that's the wrong answer.
Yep.
You're building data through money.
Yep.
You know, you're building data. You're not technically burning.
Yeah.
You are, because you don't have that money, but you just gain some knowledge.
100%. And granted, some campaigns have lost me a lot of money. But then it's like, okay, never again, right? You learn, and then you tweak, and then you find a winner, and you make it back, right?
Yeah.
But you're just testing enough to like catch that.
Yeah.
To
You make it back on your 6-to-1s.
Hey, there we
Yeah,
go.
what's up?
Love those. I was telling Okan, I was looking at a campaign that I was running. I think it was like January, February, and I was like, fucking 10 to 1. I was like, what the
Damn.
fuck? Yeah. But I peeped it. I was like, what the fuck? Oh shit. Like I caught it too late.
crazy.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I wasn't paying attention to the reporting.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I learned. I'm like, fuck, never again. I didn't even know I was fucking crushing it like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
you
how do
double
you,
down
how
on
do you,
that.
how like, so there's so much stuff, there's so many details then that means like that you need to like always as a business owner be aware of. Like things can slip.
100%.
And then you not knowing can cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, and reporting is key. Like having like robust reports are cool because you can just pull a list view, and then give it enough time to obviously perform. So like you don't want to look at it like every 2 weeks, maybe in a quarter. You know, am I profitable? Am I not? If it's too thin the margin, then it's not. Maybe you look for something else.
Yeah.
But just paying attention to that is super important.
Yeah. Well,
And-
they usually say that like a 3 to 1 is, or 1 to 3 is industry standard. So $1 in, $3 out.
Yeah, that's
But
a good
then-
formula.
Yeah, and then anything over that is really good, but it also means you're underspending on your marketing. So if you're at a 10 to 1
Yeah.
and you're spending $10,000 a month, you should be vamping up to like 20,
That should clear out
30,000.
the
Yeah,
account.
But just looking at that data though, because I mean we've hired a mentor in the space and we researched it, and there's a barrier in people's minds when they start hitting those 10 to 1s and they're like, oh, I love this, and then they just can't be like, oh, well, I'm spending 20,000, that's good enough.
Yeah,
and like
that's
it blocks you from scaling because you're like, I don't want to spend 30, I don't want to spend 40 because what if I don't make it back? But it's like you're crushing it, you just need to spend more to make the more money back, right?
Yeah.
Even if it is a 1 to 3.
Yeah, and I'm getting savvy too. So like right now with emails, we're like doing pretty cool, and I'm already seeing. So we're in the middle of the month. I know how much I have to spend. I'm like real close to getting to that 3 to 1. It's halfway through the month. What do you think is gonna happen? I mean, if we keep the same momentum up, we're gonna probably finish at like a 4 to 5.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now, before I even collect the profit, I'm like, let's fucking 2x this shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, yo, you don't want to. I'm like, I don't want to wait. I saw what I have to see. Let's fucking go because
Yeah.
it takes time, right? Like
Yeah.
That's
any
fire.
campaign takes time. But
That
now that I'm
sounds fun.
savvy, I'm like, bro, let's go. Like, what the fuck are we
That's
doing
fucking
here?
That's like,
So
you're just
sick.
like, you're just a killer.
I just saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I'm
Yeah.
like, we out.
Yeah,
They're like,
that's
we
so
don't want to.
sick.
We out.
That's
I
so
don't
sick.
care. We're out.
But that feeling, it's like adrenaline too.
Yeah. And I've gotten burned a lot too doing it like that.
Yeah.
Too aggressive because I'm too aggressive.
Yeah.
So when I act like that, sometimes things don't work out and I just put too much in and I get burned. But
Yeah.
you know, that's how you make big wins. I feel like you just go fast.
What's the biggest amount of money you spent on a campaign that you were like, oh shit,
Like
like
per month.
yeah, like just in one, yeah, well, let's just say one campaign for 30 days.
I think the highest was like 85K.
Holy
That's
shit.
micro numbers for like. There's companies that are.
Yeah.
$500,000.
How'd that make you feel?
I wanted to spend more. I was like,
Really?
yeah, it's pussy numbers. That's true, it's true. But you obviously
what
have to let the
was
money
the
catch
initial?
up. You got to
Yeah.
let the income catch up.
I love the mentality though.
Yeah.
It's fire.
That was for one campaign. I was running other campaigns too, but my mindset is if I look at the reporting and it looks positive, I'm like, okay, I need the money to come back in so I can put more. And then the next problem is how many reps do I need, right? So now that I was telling you that one of my campaigns is down, right now we're kind of like pulling back and we're restructuring, right? So then once we find that winner, we're fucking out.
Yeah.
What would you say some are like internally, some issues that you kind of want to like improve on? So like, what are some issues? And then like, I'm just curious, like maybe it's a sales thing, maybe you want to improve on that, or it's a marketing, like what aspects specifically? And then like, we'll go into kind of like how you would go and improve that.
Yeah, always marketing. It's
Right.
always something that I work on marketing every day. That's like I wake up and that's the first thing I think about. The other thing I want to get better at is delegating. I think that's the next thing I have to work on.
Right.
Because, and I'm pushing myself, right? But I do think that if I am more aggressive on handing tasks and duplicating my process, then we can kind of like, I can just focus on the only thing that matters.
So why can't you do it right now? Like, was it just more of like a mental thing or?
I think so. I think sometimes it's mental. I also think that, just putting time into that. Like it takes time. You have to sit down and say, okay, let me duplicate my process step by step. There's a lot of cool tools that I found that I could like Loom is really cool. Loom, you can record your screen. You can. There's one called Scribe. I think.
Right.
So like, it just takes time. You have to sit down and put your effort into, hey, I'm gonna duplicate my process, show someone exactly how to do it, so it's like idiot proof, and then
you gotta
hand it off.
You gotta step away from the day to day for a second.
Yep.
Which slows you down.
Sounds
I mean, it
I
slows
hate
you,
that shit.
It slows you
It's
down.
easier said than done too.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm more of I'm the type of person that like, if I see that it's like, cause I like to be focused on like one or two specific things at all times. And if another opportunity comes to place and I have an understanding about it, then I'm like, okay, I understand this. Can I get somebody that's skilled enough to then, tackle on? So I like that feeling of like, okay, like this is interesting. I want to learn more about it. So I'll just put somebody in place to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's some I feel like that's a personality thing though.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
like you said, right? You said something important that was skilled. That takes time to find. Like you can't just hire anybody. Even if you make your like, let's say scope of work very idiot proof, like not everybody's gonna do it right. So it takes time to like, okay, I have to interview at least X amount of people to find one decent one.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's the thing with delegation. Like you have to take time and just focus on, hey, I'm gonna just focus on handing this off.
Yeah.
And I have that challenge because I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking market
Yeah.
all day long. But it's like, there's other things that have to get done too.
Yeah.
And if I can put someone there to do it, then I could just focus solely on marketing.
Well, I've been telling you since day one that you gotta take yourself off the sales floor.
Yeah, and I've done that this month actually. This month
yeah.
I've only funded 20,000. I'm fucking going
nice.
crazy. Yeah. I see the rest closing. I'm like,
But do you like
itching.
Did you like doing it though?
fucking love selling.
So then, I mean,
But like you said, right? Like you can't. It's hard to scale the business if I'm the top closer,
yeah.
right? Because I'm I'm crushing it with sales. But for
Yeah.
that, let me just fucking go.
Because it goes both ways too. It's like, one, you're setting an example for the floor, but also two, it's like it kind of backfires too, because then the top closer in your business that wants to be the top closer is never going to pass you. It's
Pass
like,
me.
No, but I'm just,
Yeah, and I like the competition. I like just like leading by example too, and I like to show them like I'm training you guys. Look at my numbers, right? And when we pull the closing ratio numbers, I'm not like 1x better. I'm 2x better. Like my closing ratio for the last quarter, I think it was like close to 60%. That's a fucking crazy number. So there's a 2 to 3 chance that the client that's applying will take the funding. That's high. The average sales rep in my company, we're like at 33 to 34%. That's a good number. But my results are almost 2x. So I tell them that, like I like to be closing sometimes to say, hey, when we're training, I'm not telling you guys stuff for fun. I'm just look at the data. This is what it's showing that this works. So let's focus on getting it as close as possible to this. Because the difference is 2x. It's not like a little bit.
yeah.
So that's why sometimes I like to pitch, because I like to get data. That way I can show them, like what I'm saying, look at the numbers. Like just tweak it a little bit. And it could really be the difference between a $10,000 month and a $20,000 month.
And also it's like when you're teaching, whether it's a sales rep or somebody that's new that's coming into your business, I feel like a big thing with a lot of just employees in general, right, or contractors, it's like if you try to teach them something, it's hard for people to change. It's like that's one of the biggest things is people just they don't want to change. But if they just put that implementation in just a tiny bit, they'll see the difference.
100%.
Right? Like, I mean, I remember when we first started working with you, how your reps were closing versus how they're closing now.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like when I come in, I'm like, holy shit, like look at the numbers on the fucking board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Savages.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But like you outlined and strategized and systemized a certain way of selling, and you taught that and led by example. And now it's starting to kind of like, just like marketing,
Yeah.
right? Like your marketing numbers are going up and up and up, and you're spending more and more and more, getting more and more data. It's the same thing on the floor. It's like you're doing it on all levels, which I think like I've always like had a lot of respect for you, because you try to get the best out of every channel, and you don't try to do everything at once, right? Like it's like I've always seen you lead like that by example, and like just to give you, just to make it, known on the podcast too, like you're younger than us, right? And it's like, you look at the company that you've built and how, I know you've been in the sales industry for a long time, but if you're not following Nicole Cruz on Instagram, you should definitely be following her, because she's leading by example. This is what a business should be, right? And we get ideas from you get ideas from us, and it's like, but you're implementing it. I think that's the difference, right?
Yeah,
just
fast.
like taking into action.
Yeah.
Doing.
Doing it's hard.
It's one thing, just like people get stuck in the this.
Over perfecting, trying
Just
to get
go.
perfect. Just go, yeah.
Just go and
I
figure it out.
used to sit in my car on my way to my sales jobs, and I would listen to books, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like, yo, what? He did what? I'm gonna do that too. Year 1 goes by, year 2 goes by. Books. Nothing happened. Because I was so inspired, I was so motivated, but I wasn't implementing what I was hearing. So that was the difference between, like, that was just the biggest thing. I was learning so much, and it was just staying here. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. What do I have to lose? Am I gonna die? Probably not. Great, let's just fucking go. And the minute I started, like, and it started with the Airbnb stuff that I told you about, reading a book about it, do this, do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm going to go. I'm going to pitch people to give me the property. I'm going to arbitrage the model. I'm going to just pitch people.
Yeah.
And I showed up. I pitched. I closed the first guy, thank God. And then I just did it.
I feel like 99% of people, like, they're stuck in their head.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah. It's so hard. You know, in your head, it's like one thing and you can see the outcome in your head, but
it's scary.
It's stepping into it is almost like there's just an obstacle.
Yeah, it's
for
the
most people.
unknown. You don't know what you don't know, and you're scared to fail or look stupid.
Yeah.
And
what is that? I don't know. Everybody has that.
Everybody, I have that.
Yeah, I have that. But I think like some people are just gifted, right? Like if you look like a guy like Alex Hermosi, he's just very well presented. He just knows how to speak.
I don't agree with that though.
Let me fucking finish.
Sorry.
But he knows how to speak. He knows how to put thoughts together and the content together. I mean, he's paying a content team a crazy amount of fucking money. So they probably script some stuff, whatever. But people don't realize, like, they look at these books and they look at these, like, you know, self-improvement or, you know, business books or whatever, just going back to just take action. There are some dumbass people out there that are making billions of dollars.
Yep.
Like, right? Like, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. As long as you take action and do it, like, you're going to crush it, right? And it's not going to happen today. It might happen 10 years from now. But if you just keep doing it, like, if me and my brother started our media company and we just never reached out to our first client and we're like, hey, we want to build a media company, this would have never happened. We started in a basement, and, like, this is the coolest thing. I mean, you watched our success, coming into this office. I remember when I sent you the photo, you're like, dude, take that fucking lease.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you're like, should I? I'm like, hell yeah. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
The pressure is everything 2x. Yeah.
What is that for you? Like, for you just so it's funny. You and shout out Frank. You and us, like, we all kind of like got into new offices or built out new offices at the same time. Like, what is that? Like, because you talked about this to me too. It's like you'll grow into it. Like, what is that? What is that mindset for you?
You just bet on yourself, because if you don't stop, and you have, like, even data too, you look at your revenue. If the revenue is going up every single year because you as a founder is doing everything in your part to make it that way, you're going to grow into the office. And people come into my office and they see one spot empty and they're like, when are you going to fill up the floor? I'm like, no rush. I'm going to grow into it, but I'm not going to grow into it and hyper hire a bunch of crazy people and then burn out. So just bet on yourself, and as long as you're doing everything in your power to grow, to learn, to scale, like, you're doing all the right things, you're gonna grow into the office 100%.
Yeah.
So and I like the pressure, because if you're in your house and you never leave the house and you're just growing it to, like, be home based, like, there's no risk there. Put yourself in a space where you could fucking fail. Like, bet on yourself.
That's the difference between, and there's nothing wrong with being an employee, but or you know, whatever. But I think what you were just describing there is the difference between a business owner and an employee, because the business owner, your personality needs to be, like, risk taking should fuel you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly taking risks. It's constantly unaware, but that's what excites you.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's what makes money.
That's what makes money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to feel like that pressure, that feeling. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, like, that's where I feel like a lot of times we'll see ourselves succeed.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never made money safe.
No, you can't.
Never. Every time I've never even, I think I don't think I've ever had a salary job, because I always thought to myself, like, why would I want to work? I know I'm going to work harder than everybody else. I don't want to get paid the same. I'm not going to sit next to you and you make the same amount of money as me. You're chilling on your phone and I'm fucking going hard to get the same. No shot. So every time I look at jobs, I'm like, where can I make a percentage of my effort?
Yeah.
If it's gonna give me X amount because I sold the hardest, I want that job, and that's how I always worked my whole life.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
And
like, I'm not gonna go crazy.
And that's why sales is such a good industry to get into, right? Oh, yeah. What was your first sales job? I know we talked about this before.
Yeah. Foot Locker, but the first sales job, I was selling chips in school. Yeah, had a whole fucking business in my locker room.
So you've always been hustling.
Hustling, yeah, because I never had anything. So if I wanted to go out or I wanted to go to the movies with my friends, like, my parents were like, hey, you know, we can't right now, whatever. So I'm like, yo, Mom, can you buy the first pack of chips? That's all I ask. Take me to BJ's, buy the first pack, just give me that. If you could give me that, I'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
And I would go to BJ's and I would come back with a bunch of fucking quarters, and I'll go up to the lady with the next fucking restock, and I'm like, hey, money's money. Here's the coins. I need another one. I got 2, I got 3, and then I just started selling chips because I wanted to make money. But that was like the first sales.
What was your ROI on your first?
Terrible, bro. Terrible. Not worth it. But it's cool because it's like you're taking, like, that. Fuck it. Like, you know what I mean? What could happen?
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
And then after that, I went to Foot Locker, and then same thing. I was like, I don't want to make the same. Like, how can I be more than the owner?
I feel like especially if you're young, like younger, you know, and like you're maybe in your teens or your early 20s or whatever, like that's like you have so much time.
Yeah.
Like you could experiment with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have nothing to risk,
Yeah.
really. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's pretty exciting too. Like,
And it doesn't feel like that at the moment.
yeah.
It feels so fucking serious, bro. I was stressing. I was like, yo, mom, you say it's Thursday. I'm like, I don't care. We got to go restock. Like, I'll drag her to. So when you're at the moment, everything feels so like important and everything's like
really
the end.
does.
Yeah. But
It's like
really,
the end of the world, you know?
You look back, you're like, bro, what was I doing?
Yeah. The first sales job I ever had was well, I had two actually, because they were back to back kind of. But my first one was Sprint. One of my buddies was like, he was like a really good salesperson back in the day. Like he used to like crush like their entire gross revenue needed for the month by himself. So he's like, come work at Sprint. So I went to a Sprint, and it was at a kiosk at a mall, and it wasn't like a store that people walk into.
Yeah.
So that was like even a harder sell, because they're like third party companies. And I was just like, in my head for like 30 days straight, I was just like, how the fuck am I going to sell the worst phone line? Like, you know what I mean?
Service.
And there's like Verizon and right across the room. There's, you know, AT&T. But I think like a good tactic or a good skill that you learn from sales is like not being scared to like talk to people, right? Because I was so scared, didn't make a sale for 30 days. And then finally I was like, you know, they kind of pressured me. There was like, hey, if you don't make a sale, you're like, we're going to get rid of you. Yeah. And I just saw this lady kind of walking by, and I just like kind of was just like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Whatever. And then like started, you know, creating conversation with her. And she's like, oh, you work at Sprint? I've been actually working, you know, looking for a new phone line, blah, 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 whatever. And I bring her in, and like after that initial like getting over that fear, it was like game over from there. Yeah. Right. I didn't work there very long. I went to go work at a gym after, but it was very sales oriented because I had to sell people on memberships. But it's just like, it's a great skill. Like I think everybody should definitely learn some type of sales, because it allows you to connect with people. You're not scared to speak up or anything, right? Like were you always?
No, I was always scared too. I feel like everybody, for the most part, like you will be scared, but you have to just fucking do it. Like there was one thing that I always accredit to, well, two things. One is in school, I took a public speaking class, very, very good, because I was so shy. And when they forced you to go up on stage and like talk, it helped a lot. The second thing that I did is actually funny. I used to be in Amway, which is like multi-level marketing. And for us to get leads.
Shout out MLM.
For us to get leads, we used to do the craziest shit, bro. Like we would go to the mall and we're like awkwardly look at people and be like, hey. Like, because you have to get them under you, right? That's how it works. So I was like, nice shoes. Are you interested in a business opportunity? Like, fucking terrible, bro. And we would like look at people like that one. Like fucking weirdos, bro. But it made you like get out of your shell, and I was like fucking sweating bullets. I'm like, oh, that's so weird though. They're like, just go. All right, let's break up. That one looks nice, and that person should go, and we'll break up, and like me and Amanda and Brian, and it's just hilarious. But doing that got you out of your shell. And then we used to go to home cares. Yo, crazy, bro. We used to sell the nurses, like,
oh my god,
like solicitating and shit. They used to kick us out, like,
oh
but all that got me like out of like that scare mode. So nothing could stop me after that. I was like, awesome. If I could go door to door type of shit, like.
And I think every business owner in general just needs some type of sales work, because 100%. Like you need to be out of your shell, because if you're not innovating and creating relationships and networking and meeting new people and creating other business opportunities, you're stagnant and your business is gonna die. Yeah. It's like I was like talking to my cousin recently, and even with Ocon like this week, you know, would you rather die a slow death, right? Or would you die a quick death? But knowing that with the quick death, you tried everything possible.
Quick.
Right?
When you say quick, you mean young?
No, like
quick.
Like I'm saying like business death.
Yeah.
Right? Would you rather go out like, I'm going to spend $20,000. This is my last $20,000 of marketing, but I got to try to make this work. Or would you rather drag on a year, but you're slowly declining, right? Like what's the point of not trying the things to grow your business? Yeah. I think that's so stupid. And like we kind of been stagnant for a little bit, but I think for ours, like being stagnant, it's just been more I think in the last like 3-4 months, we've been like seriously growing our skills of just marketing in general, and figuring out, holy shit, there's like other avenues than just content, and they all complement each other. And I think when we like put the systems down and kind of partner with the right people, which we have been, that then we'll be like, okay, now it's time to scale and start bringing people on, right? Because you don't ever want to jump the gun and try to promise the world and then it freaking collapses on you, right? So
do you mind if we take a quick pause?
Yeah, of course.
No.
We're crushing.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're right back.
All right, we're back on the HasMedia podcast, and let's continue the conversation. So let's go into a little bit about.
I hate when you do this.
What?
I'm just joking.
What do you mean? When have I done this? This is our second episode. I hate when you do this.
Every time.
Every time. So far.
So let's talk about a little bit of a different perspective shift, not out of the MCA space. You got your girl. She just started a new clothing line.
Sure did.
Talk to us a little bit
Hey,
about that.
Luxura Atelier, baby. Tap in, females, best fit of all time. I'll tell you, I'm super biased, obviously. I'm not going to say I'm not. But when she works out in those fits, bro, head turner. Like, if you're that type of girl that just wants to feel good at the gym and look good, like, that is such a stylish outfit. That's like the brand that she's building is fire. Like, she's working out and everyone's looking at her working out because it's just such a loud, like, it's so dope. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how'd you guys come up with the whole idea? Did you have anything to do with it, or is it all Yas?
Oh yes. She's very creative, and I feel like she's always wanted to do something. She just didn't know what. Like, she started with like little bracelets, accessories, even looking into like swimwear. Like, so she's always wanted to do something, but she loves working out. So I think that she found that, okay, I like working out. I like looking good working out. Let me just do something that goes hand in hand.
And fitness is a huge avenue. I mean, it's just exploding. You know? And people think that's the thing. Like, a lot of people think, you know, an industry saturated or the leads are not good. Or whatever. It's like you gotta be different. You gotta create a brand. You know what I mean? People respect the brand. They want to be a part of that culture, and if you create something dope, people are gonna come and find you.
Yeah, people buy so for her it's B2C, so it's a little different from me, right? Like, we do like service in a way where, you know, we don't have an item. She has an item. So I feel like the most important thing she can deliver on is the product. That product has to be good, because if the product isn't good, you're gonna have a hard time. Yeah. So with her, she has the good product. She figured out, like, obviously the good wholesaler, all that good stuff. So once they get the item, it's actually really good item. Okay. So I'm very happy for her for that. And I hope she's ready to work. It's hard, you know?
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, look at I forgot the guy's name. Jason, can you pull out the guy's name from Gymshark? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But no, the owner of Gymshark, like, he's a young kid. He freaking started Gymshark, you know, it was like 5 years ago now. The company's like $1 billion company.
Yeah,
now.
5 years is crazy to hit that type of revenue. Shit.
Ben Francis, yeah. So it's just like, there's so much opportunity. I feel like sometimes people, when they go into a business or try to create a business idea, it should be with, you should love it, right? Yeah. But like, also it's gonna be hard as fuck. Yeah. You're gonna fucking hate it at times, right? Like, it's not gonna be all love. Like, loving it is a great start, but anything that you start is hard.
Yeah. It's like a curve. I feel like with anything you start off with, it's like that excitement in the beginning, and then it just drops.
Shit! What the fuck? Hey, what is this?
Reality hits, and then you realize that making money isn't easy.
Yeah. And I started Redline because I wanted to sell.
Yeah.
I am not selling. Like, it's just it always turns into something else. You're going to realize what business you're in when you start it. Because she's probably like, I like working out and I like to look good working out. Here's my brand. Boom. Yeah. Now she's going to be like, holy fuck, inventory, sales, marketing, this, like, what is that, automation, CRM returns, people complaining, bad reviews. Like, it just turns into this whole thing that's just super outside of, I like working out, I like looking pretty in the gym. Yeah. It's a completely different thing.
100%. So a good thing, because I was talking about this before, so this is just, it's a known thing. It's fairly new. It's kind of like how Amazon started with like the drop shipping. Yeah. And it kind of like the whole market exploded. Yeah. So TikTok is trying to compete with Amazon and Marketplace. So for her, what I tell clients that are interested in like product sales is, once you get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, you can start to open up shops. Yeah. Right. So when you get confirmed or, like, you know, allowed to be on the shop, approved to be on the shop, what it allows you to do, it allows you to access the back end of TikTok, and it allows you to access creators within TikTok Shop that are all trying to sell and create videos for the type of product or service that you're trying to sell.
Fire.
So there's a thing that people know, it's called viral marketing. If you ever watch like an Andrew Tate or a Luke Belmar video or whatever, you see the same accounts posting multiple times of the same person over and over again, and they're in your face, and it creates relevancy.
Yeah.
So TikTok is doing that same thing with product and service, but they're serving you the creators that are selling those product or service.
Nice.
So all you would have to do is, there's two ways to do it. You could either pay them up front, give them commission, or do a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
And as you build it, right, you can send them free product if you want, whatever. You have these people wear your brand, work out, talk about how nice the shirts are,
Yeah.
talk about how nice is this. But if you have a big budget
They become
as
a rep,
a business, they become a rep or like just an affiliate of you.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine now 1,000 people posting about, Yas's business.
Yeah.
That's like, it's crazy. Right.
Yeah.
So the hardest part is like finding the content, because this is where we originally started, was in the content, like getting people to go viral and getting views. Right. The hardest part of it is finding what content is relevant to the consumer.
Yep.
Once you figure that out, it's game over. Because
What
if
do you
you
mean by what content is relevant to the consumer? What do you mean by that?
like, when the content is like, the consumer likes the content, basically, like they vibe and they resonate and connect with that type of content.
So you're trying to create the content for your market, and the market that you're trying to penetrate needs to resonate with the content you're producing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you can do that, now it starts to be game over, right? Because you have all the tools in the world now, right? There's no more excuse of, oh, I don't got this rep or I don't have this person. Like, there's so much AI, like you can do anything the fuck you want, right?
And
So
everything's digital now.
yeah, everything is digital. So
Everyone's accessible.
my point is, like, if anybody's starting a product or service, and Yash should definitely look into this, it's like, okay, strategize on how I can get to 1,000 followers first,
ASAP.
right? And get it ASAP. Get some sales, right?
Yeah.
And then with the TikTok Shop, now if you get approved for that TikTok Shop, you have endless amount of resources to be able to just repurpose your content and send them free gear and all this stuff. And they're making videos, review videos, or working out videos or whatever. And then all of a sudden, what happens? You start to build that over time, and that your ROI starts to come back and go. And people are like, oh, what is that brand? I want that brand.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, like,
it's all about relevance.
yeah, I don't know if you remember when it was a China product. It was like no brand product, no name product, but they were trying to compete with like Lululemon. And I think they're still big today. It was women's like the yoga pants, but like it basically, like they shaped it where like the ass would just really show.
Yeah.
It went viral all over TikTok. Because why? Every girl is like, well, I want my butt to look good, right?
Yeah.
They sold, I think it was like some crazy number. It was like $50 or $60 million within the first year of just opening up shop,
shit.
right? So there is no more excuse anymore. If you have a good product, if you have a good brand behind it, a good voice behind it, a good character behind it, right? And you love making content, and you can spread that across a platform,
And you can
get approved for
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah.
Shop, it's like,
Fucking game over.
it's game over,
Yeah.
right? So it's
You're
like,
off to the races now.
yeah. And I think, honestly, it's especially...
To go off to that, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to key
Yeah,
up.
no problem.
I just want to key up on
He keeps doing that every podcast.
Do I?
I'm just gonna go ahead.
Second bias.
to key up onto what you were just saying. I just lost my train of thought because you said that, but I'll keep going. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I actually forgot.
Okay.
hate that.
I'm
Doing the half
gonna go
You know-
into it. Go ahead. You just remembered?
No, I don't.
Oh, I'm gonna go into it. He's gonna cut me off again.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just
Owner's biggest pet peeve is getting cut off.
I hate it.
So I can't like get any words in sometimes.
Where were we?
Oh, now he lost his train of
Yeah,
thought.
now I lost my train of thought. But I'm just
TikTok
saying,
Shop,
that's
you
what I'm
get
saying.
the-
Like,
you
so
get
if you just have a great brand, like I think, like for sales, right? For money, obviously money. Everybody wants money, right? So
Yeah.
like your industry is like really good, because you could, no matter what, you could always sell money, right?
Yeah.
But I think like the barrier to entry for like a product or service is that much easier now
Oh, man,
because
yeah.
of those resources.
Okay, I
Right?
just got it now. So what I was saying was, like what Owner was just talking about, how like you can get access to, like, let's say in this example, TikTok Shop and getting approved, and then now you have access to all these people that could push your content out and push your product out. Like that is so much more scalable, and you have so much more access to the person that's just trying to create a brand and then just trying to figure out, okay, how could I get more eyes on my video? There's no way you're going to be able to compete.
Yeah.
If these are what people are doing and they figured out like, okay, this is how I do viral marketing and get my brand out there, and there's 1,000 people posting for you essentially, how are you going to compete?
You can't.
Yeah.
If you're comparing yourself,
you
you
have
lost.
to, you have to join that.
Yeah.
You have to join that
Yeah.
system.
If I brought an investor on board to my business and I had let's just say I had we had a brand company, right, or a clothing company, clothing brand, and I had an investor that was like, yeah, I'm going to give you $1 million for your business. I would literally go to that investor and say, okay, well, I got 1,000 people on TikTok Shop. I'm going to take $700,000 of your money and put it solely to those people and market that way. Right?
Why do you think Kevin O'Leary was trying to buy TikTok?
Yeah.
Kevin
Oh,
O'Leary, because he's invested into so many businesses. He talks about it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, he is. Yeah.
And so many of the business that he has a stake in, they make most of their revenues through TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like because
It's
it's
insane.
mostly products like Shark Tank and stuff. They
Yeah.
come, they get them approved into TikTok right away, and then they get those products being pushed out like crazy. So
Sheesh, gotta look into that.
he probably has like hundreds and hundreds of businesses that he has a stake in, and if TikTok were to go down, he was like, he was freaking out. Not freaking out.
I
But he was
mean,
like,
I would
Yeah.
fucking go
I'm
nuts.
sure he has a lot of money in other many other avenues, and he would just have to figure out how to transition into because there would be the next thing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
There's
always the next thing.
You know what I
Always.
mean?
So it'd be harder. I think it'd be obviously harder with like an MCA type of
Yeah, you
service
can.
or product,
Yeah.
but like with a tangible product just tangible product in general, it's that much easier for businesses now because this is the crazy part. Is like we're talking about advertising, right? This is the new way of advertising,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of people there. I mean, there's a lot of people in it, but it's not the whole market hasn't captured
Yeah.
it yet.
They don't even understand what's going on.
Exactly. So now when you think about that, right, and you double down on that and you try to get to 1,000 followers or whatever, and you do have investors backing you, and you do have the ability to attract these, they call them UGIs,
Yeah.
UGCs,
Yeah.
and user generated content. So basically or user generated influencers. And what ends up happening is if you can replicate it across the board, now if 5 people go viral and get millions of views, right? And you can take that and then just pay them again and be like, hey, but this time I want you guys to repurpose this same exact piece of content that already
Yeah.
went viral
Yeah.
across the board to
Yeah.
1,000 people. What do you think is going to happen?
Gonna go viral again.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
No ad can beat that,
Yeah.
right? Because you're paying per the view, and there is pay per view on this type of advertising, but it just goes to show you like if you get let's say a video gets 10 million views, but that happens 10 more times across 1,000 people, that's still 100 million views.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl doesn't even get that.
Yeah.
That's what is like crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so like that market is, it's not untapped because it's being tapped into, but I think right now it's like there's a race to get there.
Yeah.
So
you
if
can
any,
control, you can control attention now.
yeah, and
I've never heard of this.
yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
I think so. If the biggest advice I'd give to Yas is like focus on TikTok, figure out how to get to that 1,000 followers, and figure out how to get approved on the TikTok shop, and like literally go all in on it. Like
Yeah.
any type of revenue that you make, just put it back into that, put it back into that, put it back into
Yeah,
that.
just get
Wow.
approved. But
Okay.
I think you just need 1,000 followers, right?
Yeah, you just need 1,000 followers.
To get.
The business page.
Yeah, the business
Yeah.
page. Yeah.
Let me actually see where she's at. I'm actually curious because no, like this is fire. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
we're literally. I help her. So this is the advantage that she has. I would say. We did like a little analysis about where she's at in the business and where would I start if it was me doing it, and based on everything I know, everything I failed, where would I start, right? And I told her, I was like, you have to figure out how to burn the ship in the front. Burn the ship in the front is leads. You need leads. You need people looking at your website, scrolling, clicking, adding to carts. That's what you need to focus on right now. Anything you're doing that's not that is not important.
Just
Yeah.
attention. You're just building.
Yeah, you
you're-
need to market.
Yeah.
You
Like,
need to get eyes on your product. How do I
Yeah.
get eyes on my product?
yeah, and she's building a lot of cool stuff. Like automation is important, right? Because obviously when they buy, they need the confirmation, they need this, they need that.
Yeah.
She's trying to do a little bit of SEO herself, but I'm like, look, right now all that is cool. We need to figure out a machine. We need a machine that brings people in that buy.
right,
When
yeah.
they buy, your next problem is, okay, I don't have enough automation to make sure I'm getting the good ROI.
Yeah.
When you get there, then we focus on that.
To go off of that too, you can't really control the amount. I mean, you kind of can. It's indirect, but you can't really control the amount of people that will see your product. I mean, you can, but not really. But you could set things in place so then you set yourself up for success.
Yep.
So like, what's the problem? The problem is nobody's aware of your brand.
Yep.
Okay, cool. What can I do? I could post. I could try to improve to TikTok shop. I could have other people posting for me.
Yep.
I can, do a podcast on it. I could get emails. I could start cold emailing. Like, so now you're trying to figure out ways to just get that product in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So once you can figure that out, then everything else kind of you can build out.
Yep.
The systems you can start building out, because having a CRM is cool, but if you don't have the leads that are coming in, and what are you organizing?
Yep.
You know what I mean? What are you tagging?
And it's the questions you ask yourself, right? Because I told her that, ask yourself certain questions. What moves this ahead? What do I have to do right now? Make sales. Okay.
100%.
How are you going to make sales? You need people to buy.
Right.
How are you going to get people to buy? You got to do some marketing.
Right.
You got to market. And who cares about like, oh, I don't want this person wearing it because who gives a fuck? Just sell. No one knows we exist.
Right.
Nobody knows Peachy Bums. Nobody knows who these people are. Like,
What I've learned though in the past couple of weeks, because we're implementing some systems into place, is that usually in order to act, you have to be aware of the issues that you have.
Yep.
So like understand the issue and then make action items, control like things that you could actually do, like moving your limbs wise and like actually acting on it, and create to-dos off of that issue so you could solve the problem. Like that's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to solve this problem.
The next step.
You don't know the answer, but you can brainstorm and figure out answers to solve that problem.
100%.
Right? It doesn't have to be like the answer. You don't know it's the answer.
Yeah.
You're just thinking that way.
I would even tell Yas like to do exactly what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like all we're doing is we have a landing page to collect emails, right? And there's a lot of big time clothing brands where they just do drops every quarter, once a quarter.
She was telling me.
Yeah, and every quarter, like one girl's on Shark Tank. She was explaining how she does it, and basically she does a drop every quarter. In that 1 hour, she makes like $300,000. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like what you're doing is she's posting content. It's a build up. They're opting in because they're like, oh, I want that product. And they're like, hey guys, the pink leggings is now live. You know what I mean?
People see it though.
The hype.
People only see that hype peak.
Yeah.
But they don't see all the work that it takes to build that
Yeah.
hype
Oh
up.
man, yeah.
Yeah.
But that could be a good strategy. So like putting that together slowly, because now she's focusing on the content, and then that content will unlock the TikTok shop. Then you get, into TikTok shop, but you're collecting emails. And then once you get the influencers going and get more hands raised, now it's like you're building momentum.
100%.
And then finally you're like, hey guys, we're dropping this Friday.
I think if I were to start a clothing brand, I would probably, and I wanted to do it like the hype way, that's probably the angle I would take.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, cool. I want to focus on designing a certain clothing brand, right? And I want to launch it on, 6 months from now on this date, no matter what. I want to launch it from now. Now all I got to do is I got to figure out my marketing strategy and get people to see this and see if they're actually interested and like the style of it. And then
Who's gonna buy?
Start retargeting. And then eventually when that time hits and you're good.
Everybody's going crazy.
Then you're
They're
good.
waiting for that.
Yeah.
It's another thing too is also the patience in the beginning, because you want to sell, right? Like you want to be the best. Like you want to crush it. And time in business is elite. Like 100%. I always say that shit. Like the difference between, let's say, someone who's just starting and someone who's making revenue is time in business, and doing everything in your part to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, you're not going to crush it, and you're probably going to lose a lot of money. You're probably not going to be profitable. You know what I mean? Because you have to take all the upfront cost of, where am I going to market? I don't have any data. I don't know who likes my stuff. I don't know where they're buying it from. I don't know. And I told her in the beginning, we just have to collect data. 100%. We have to market a little bit and then just see. I told her too, like, what sets are people going to buy, right? You got 4. She's like, okay, so far we've gotten, let's say 7 sales, right? I think it was 4 out of the 7 were the black set, right? So now you're starting to pick up data and say, okay, I feel like most people, the more data we'll collect, which ones are they buying? Which are they not?
100%.
Which ones do we stop restocking on? Which ones do we need, right? And then, so in the beginning, there's a lot of like unknowns. So that's why you can't crush it, because you just don't know what's going to be the winners.
You set the ceiling low.
Yeah.
As low as possible, I feel like, in the beginning, right?
Like be patient.
Just be patient. Just very low, and like, okay, can I hit this milestone.
Yeah.
Might be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to try to make $100 million in my first launch. You know, let's just try. Okay, can we make a couple $100?
Yeah.
Try to get that.
Let's make some sales. Let's collect some data.
Right.
Don't go crazy.
Right. And
Don't
then
expect craziness.
And then keep proving it.
Yep,
Get confident, and then up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Keep proving that. Get confident. Up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's how you properly scale.
And I think one of the biggest things I learned in business, just with this business, being in trucking, for 7 years, and other things that I've tried, is like, well, trucking is the longest thing I've ever been in, and this is like the longest that I've been in, obviously with my brother now, and like this is something that we love and we want to grow. But I think people don't realize, like, when you're starting a business, they want to crush shit and they want to make all this money, but sometimes it takes time to build skills, and it takes time to take on opportunities.
Yep.
Right. Like, so if if an opportunity presented itself, like this is what I'll give you a great example. One of my clothing businesses that I started, we call it Circuit Apparel, and it was supposed to be it was a athletic, active wear brand or whatever. And to make extra money, we were screen printing for other businesses to try to bring revenue in, and we didn't have systems in place. We didn't know what we were doing, and we got basically an opportunity. That my mom actually put together, because she works at the DMV. So there was like a construction company that came in, and they were like, we want to do $250,000 worth of business with you guys. Mm-hmm. And I started trying to put everything together, whatever. And like 2 weeks into it, I was just like, I had to call them and be like, hey, like, with all due respect, like, I don't want to screw you guys up. I just can't take this work on. Yeah. Because it wasn't just taking in 2 boxes, 3 boxes. It was, there would have been like 2 trucks with like, massive 20 pallets, and like, what am I going to do? And then the logistics and the cost behind that. And I would maybe lost money. Yeah. And it might have panned out. It might have, that might have turned into a business or whatever. But if I had grown that business and then that business came, it's like, damn, like now I'm ready.
That opportunity.
Now I'm ready to the opportunity, but I just wasn't ready yet. So it's like, I think that's one big thing that I've learned is
you got to build the skills up.
You build the skills up, and then the opportunities come. And then when those opportunities arise, now it's like, and then people are like, oh, damn, she's lucky, or he's lucky. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, you worked every day, day in, day out,
built that skill.
Built that skill. And then when the opportunity came, you're like, you know what? I'm fucking ready for this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I thought it was cool too, just in that topic of like starting a business. I had we had the financials open for Redline, and I was showing her, I was like, this is what people don't see, right? And at the bottom number, it was a big negative, right? I was bleeding for a long time, and now it looks cool. Like, okay, we're making some money, it looks cool, but look at the red bottom number at the bottom. Like that we were bleeding. Yeah. And we weren't bleeding for just like 2 months. We were bleeding that whole year. The first year we just bled. Yeah. And it's like, that's what it takes, you know what I mean? And now it looks cool and lucky, but it's just the skills. The only difference is skill. Yeah. In those 2 years, I've been getting really good. And I'm gonna keep getting good. So that's just what starts happening as you're in business. You gain the skills, and the catch is you're learning. It's that's fucking dope.
So,
love it.
It's been a great podcast. Hey. What is before we go? What are some cool things that you're working on right now that you're trying to put together that's gonna or you don't want to give away the secret? You don't want to give away the secrets.
No. I actually I'll say this. When I want to learn something from like someone like Hormozy, right? You could find this guy everywhere. Yeah. Right. You could find him on YouTube. You could find him on a podcast. You could find him like he's just there. Yeah. And anytime I like someone, like I'm like, fuck, I want more. They have so many avenues where you can get more. So in the personal side, like the brand, I want to slowly add more avenues for people because they're asking for help and I don't have much to give yet, right? Because I'm just so focused on the business. So a personal goal for that is like maybe opening up a channel that we can use to help people. Yeah. A little bit different from what you guys are currently doing with like other people, but something where, I can help. Yeah. And whether that's through free information like this or like YouTube, whatever, like just giving more information and then giving people the opportunity that if they do want to pay for something more personalized, then we can give that opportunity.
100%. And we're growing that and we're going to build it. And this has been awesome.
We got to do this again.
Yeah, we got to do this again. Yeah. This is
all
sick.
The time.
This is freaking sick. I mean, if you guys love the podcast, like, subscribe, comment. Where can they find you?
Hey, the real Nicole Cruz
Hell
Instagram.
yeah. Remember, you're like, no, don't make that name.
Nah, I love it. It's great. Best name ever. I think
Yeah.
it was like Nikki JC underscore underscore.
But yeah, you could go follow her on TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
and we'll put the training that we created with her in the show notes.
For
Thanks
prospecting.
for prospecting, and
Yeah.
definitely I would recommend watching that. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Hey, see ya.